Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. I apologize. I have to get to. I'm 10 minutes late for another engagement I have to get to. I want to thank all of you for being here. The chair would ask Ms. Hageman if you could come up and take the chair while we go to Mr. Moran, and then Ms. Hageman will close out our hearing. But I did have two quick things. Mr. O, you had a point you wanted to make earlier, and I said I'd give you time. You can make that point if you haven't. Committee will be in order if we get the Capitol. You decided to not wait for the police. So if you wanted to do that real quickly, and then I did have a question for Mr. Marcus.
Of course, yeah. I just wanted to touch on Representative Roy's question regarding application of DEI offices and why they may not be so effective. I mean, of course, my biggest problem with these offices is the I in DEI, inclusion. Of course, I think it's a pretty safe assumption that everyone here wants the inclusion of all viewpoints. However, I don't understand how such offices can pretend to facilitate that when it's so unequally applied. When we hosted Alan West on our campus, he came to speak about race, and this was heavily protested, especially by members of this office. The university itself and their Distinguished Speaker Series, which is pretty well known in the Buffalo area, was able to host Nicole Hannah-Jones, who is the founder of the 1619 Project. These speakers each came to talk about race. They each have large followings, but the response to them was vastly different.
Yep.
If DEI offices were committed to handling these topics equally, I fail to see why there was this discrepancy.
So one of the things I've just recently learned about, you made me think of it, I know on campuses we had these safe spaces, we have free speech and all this stuff that doesn't mean, it seems to me the free speech zone should be everywhere. It's called the First Amendment. But we have these things. But I learned about this issue called no contact orders. Have any of the three of you students experienced that dynamic on campus where someone says they don't like your point of view, they report to the DEI officer, someone in the campus in authority, and then there's an order that you're not allowed to have contact with another student because that student is somehow offended by what you believe or what you may have said. Have any of you had any experience with that?
I personally have not had any experience with that. No.
Okay.
I also have personally not experienced that.
Okay.
I have not either.
That's good to hear. Maybe it's not very prevalent, which would be a good thing. Mr. Marcus, in your opening statement, you talked about 4 things you thought should happen that you were suggesting the committee do. If you could just, and I just wrote down 1 to 4, but I didn't get those. If you could just recite those for me again, that'd be great.
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. I suggested that Congress could provide the Education Department with tools to address violations of the freedom of speech, similar to the way in which it handles violations of the right to be free of discrimination.
Okay.
Second, that there could be a special advisor or coordinator for free speech within the Department of Education reporting to the Secretary. Third,
promoting free speech, promoting the First Amendment, not the Disinformation Governance Board that the Biden administration tried to set up that would limit speech. Is that right?
That's right, Mr. Chairman.
Got it.
If free speech is addressed, if at all, by the Office of General Counsel, by the Office for Civil Rights, there are implications of work done by the Office of Post-Secondary Education and other components, but there is no institutional repository of knowledge on how it is that free speech can be protected.
Okay.
Third, I suggested that the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act would provide important tools for the Education Department. And I believe the 4th one is that there could be a check on whether the Biden administration is indeed planning to issue the promised regulations implementing the Trump Executive Order 13899 next month as promised in the OIRA Unified Agenda and Regulatory Plan, but for which there's been no talk in
that's something that's current that we need to pressing right now. I want to thank all of our witnesses, particularly our students, Ms. Silberstein, especially you and what you've had to endure. But thank you all for being here. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from